has nothing to do with the years that those persons actually put days, nights, and broken arms and thumbs and time in just learning to be respected. Two totally different issues.
So what can we do for the kids? Because as we're saying, we get caught up. The blacks and Latinos get caught up. We get caught up in that, I guess, that glamour of the violence, but we end up paying bigger prices than everybody else. I'm not trying to make a racial statement, but in reality, I guess that's what it is. What can we do for the youth to not let them get caught up into those sort of things?
You cannot make the mind of another person. At the same time that you teach this individual, you can only teach him the discipline, the respect, and all that goes with this sacred art that he's being blessed with being able to learn. Usually that kind of respect transfers into listening to his elders, not going out and being an advantage taker, because you will teach him, as Arnold will and as I had, that when you strike at someone, when you use anything above 7 pounds of pressure, you're going to break something. If you hit him on his nose bone, you're going to drive it into his brain. When you reach into his eye socket and lock your thumb and pull his eye out, you're never going to have problems with him again. He's going to be somebody that in the community, he realizes his power and his availability to defend himself. He's not going to be one. Every now and then you get a road that goes and shows off. But most of the things that you learn as a martial artist, you will learn that when you get within certain parameters of a guy's being, there's no defense for it. Nobody on the planet, when gotten close enough, can stop from bending over when you hit him in his groin. Once he falls over and you reach and stick both fingers in his eye socket, it doesn't matter whether he's a giant or not. He's going to subdue to you. So nobody wants to be that kind of aggressive person. In self-defense, it's a whole nother subject matter.
And that brings us to, on mainstream level, you can pick up a book. You got these guys teaching people how to kill people and combat it. It's like you can buy it, like you can buy a sandwich from the store. I mean, what does that do to the mentality of our youth? Like, once again, yes, sir.
I disagree with that. Just because it's in a book that you can do certain things that make a person a worse person. Let's go back to this country. We have just gotten a new president, African American. And prior to that, for the last 8 years, this country has been at war. It was established because of a president and a vice president going or taking this country to war under the pretext that the person had weapons of mass destruction. We found out the guy didn't have a bean shooter. They knew that in advance. So you got people around the other sides of the world that see from their perspective that this is a country with all its might. It sometimes uses all kinds of fallacies and fictitious reasons to attack another person, which is why everybody's trying to get a bomb. They said, well, he went in and he destroyed, this is Bush, he went in and he destroyed a king, his princes, and devastated the country. So in the event that he comes at us next, we want to be able to respond in kind. Now, I maintain when you go to war, as the United States does, they teach the average American soldier and give him the best weapon known to man, how to defend himself and how to stay alive. What he has found now is that he's found an enemy that learns the martial arts. He doesn't want to stay alive. He's trained to die. Totally different. So again, it's propagandized, and you got to have your own discipline. You got to hopefully be able to teach your young people how to think and function and how to be a progressive and a productive person. But everybody doesn't see the world in this westernized age.
So how does that bring us back to, and if I'm incorrect, to peace, love, and respect? And that's what I think we're striving for, to try to find harmony amongst our youth, to be able to communicate. And I guess from within, it's about finding that self-respect, that self-love, and that self-worth. And when we have that, we can do remarkable things. What can we do to bring that back, sir?
Continue to teach the young people by one most significant thing. This generation is smarter than we ever were and bigger than we ever were. And they're conscious. They got better eyesight than we ever had. When you give some young person advice, usually you have to have ethos and credibility for him to hear that. Then the most significant thing is you got to be the message that you send. They watch us, and through their actions, they show how and whether they're going to receive it or not. If you continue to allow a child to be in the presence of a roach, he's going to crawl. If you allow him to be in the presence of people that have discipline, he doesn't have a choice. When he stands out, when he tries to defy that, the general mode of people in that area are going to isolate him and make him be a rogue. All we can do is what we're doing now. Promote and continue to do as much as we can of the right thing, and you're going to reach some. You're going to miss some. That's the way the world is.
So what can you say to the martial artists, Mr. Mitchell, to reinforce that from the realest level that's humanly possible?
Well, first and foremost, Mr. Melvin mentioned that word respect. You really got to go into what the word respect means. If you give respect, you don't get respect. And most people don't know what the word respect means. My thing is like this word dissing. You diss me, I diss you. Well, where I come from, you diss somebody, you die. So, don't even come that diss thing, and don't even come that thing about disrespect. I don't believe disrespecting anyone. And the reason why I'm here on this planet because I'm about respect. And in terms of martial arts, they don't understand respect. You know, the new generation, everybody want to be a chief. Nobody want to be an Indian. I say that to you because so many guys get these ranks, 16, 17 years old, 8th degree, 9th degree black belts. Some guys in their early 20, 9th degree black belts. But like Mr. Williams said, you have to be the message. My message is that I want to influence and project respect to the young generation by hard training, hard work, and become successful.
In education, Mr. Melvin, on the American Gangster, they was talking about your IQ. I mean, you're a very intelligent man. I mean, how important is that education? I mean, you're a self-educated man, I guess, sir.
Mine didn't come because of anything that I did. I woke up one day and realized that I had a command of numbers. And my mother instilled that in me because I'm always counting and determining how much she won if she hit a number for 5 cents, 10 cents, what the odds were. And it generated to a greater command of numbers. So it became easy for me to assess what probabilities was for something happening or not happening. As I got older and they start assessing how that was with regards to an IQ, and an IQ means intelligence quotient. It doesn't mean that you're brilliant. It means that the likelihood of you coming up with an answer to a problem is a little bit faster or is able to be judged according to that than the John Q. average person. But there were people that were standing around waiting for, I guess, some person to make a bad guy out of in my situation. I just continued to use the math and the education and to be self-taught. I was confined for a considerable period of my life, so I chose that to use to study medicine and mathematics and law and analytic geometry and calculus and languages, and it seemed to have worked out. More than anything else, I think my blessing, something that I had nothing to do with, is that I have a photographic memory. If I read something, I will remember it from now on.
And isn't that true with a lot of the kids? I mean, a lot of kids on the street that's into that game, a lot of them learn how to read and write without even finishing school. How can we get them to, I mean, what would you say to the kid that can take it and flip it? They have a lot of strength. I mean, would you agree? What can we say to them to take the negative and make it a positive?
I'm of the firm opinion that most young people that go to schools of higher learning go with an objective. But our problem is the guy that doesn't reach that level. As you well know, that most people that play basketball are never going to play in the NBA. He believes he is. Most people that think that he's going to be a rap star is only going to get a rap someplace, and he's going to go someplace. You have to have enough intelligence to be diversified. The same thing that they teach you on Wall Street. Don't put all your stocks in one thing. That's what we have to continue to teach this kid. Learn some of this, learn some of that, learn some of this, learn some of that. Don't spend all life or lifetime, lifelong, standing around that corner, because all he's going to learn around that corner is how to hide Joe's package, what is the best price to sell these things. We got to continue to open the world up for him, get buses of them together, take them to different other parts of the world to let them see that there are other kinds of successes other than the only guy in the neighborhood who's got a Benz, and everybody know how he got it. So we got to get him out the neighborhood so that he can see that there's other kinds of flourishing that takes place in the world.
And when you think of something, if somebody takes something and they take it and they fuse it together through a culture that drives our kids, hip hop. I mean, that's the one thing. I mean, they make more money off of hip hop than probably anything else in the pop culture. And you know, when you take something like that and you fuse it together with the principles of martial arts, the principles of boxing, how do you think that could feed the subliminal minds of the kids?
I think hip hop in today's generation, even though I can't hear it, I maintain that anybody that can hear fast enough to remember the kind of words that they're saying as fast as they can remember anything. So it's our responsibility to make his programming such that he remembers something other than maybe some of the stupidity in a record or in a recording or in some particular hip-hop recording. You have to teach him maybe mathematics in hip-hop. Teach him all different kinds of other things in hip-hop, because clearly he can hear those words and repeat them. If he repeats enough without knowing it, we've got what we want out of it.
Mr. Mitchell, how would you go about elaborating on that?
Well, hip-hop is definitely in the state. Been following the guy Jay-Z. I've been following Lil Wayne and all them multi-billionaires for the last couple of years. Excuse me. One time they said it was going to stop about 10 years ago. They said, well, no, you can't understand what he's saying. It's violent, it's gutturally, it's uneducated. Most of them dudes, hip-hop guys, most of them are very intelligent guys, man. Despite what you hear the negative stuff, in terms of guys getting locked up, most of them guys pretty smart. I had an opportunity to meet a guy, Kevin Lyles, Baltimore guy. Very brilliant young guy, man. He's one of the guys who took it to another level. It's not a bad thing. Most people don't understand it. I just myself recently understand hip-hop. In fact, James Brown was a hip-hop guy. He had a message. It's a message, man. A message trying to send through music. So I'm all for the hip-hop program. I think we are hip-hop guys. We like the Dougie Freshes. We are the Curtis Blows. We the old style Curtis Blows. But I think it's here to stay though. Hip-hop is a good thing.
Okay. So what can we, I mean, I guess the thing where I'm going with this is that, and we as a people, we always created stuff like jazz, dance, and because we're so artistic, we tend to do it and then leave it alone, and then another race of people come through and they make all the money off of it. And we sitting back moving from one thing to the next thing. What can we say to our kids to, I guess it's called persistence. Find something that you love and hold on to it and be willing to die for it, especially if it maintains something at a higher level of growth to change humanity. I mean, what would you say about that, Mr. Melvin? Or am I speaking wrong?
I think you're right in terms of getting somebody interested in something. And my position with getting them interested is something that has been totally left out and removed. And that is that we know so little about ourselves. Every nationality on the planet spends a considerable time each week learning about themselves. As I'm conscious, there is no Jewish child of consciousness this past week that didn't learn something about the Holocaust, Auschwitz, where so many millions of Jews were to have died. And some Jewish associates of mine maintained that before we would let another Adolf Hitler do the things that they did to us in the past, we would shed every drop of Jewish blood. I adhere to that. What we need to know is that most of us, and we shouldn't be teaching blackness 1 month of a year. We should teach something about slavery each week so that we would know how much more we have in common than we have apart, be it Willie Lynch and the light skin, dark skin syndrome or not. We need to be taught more about what the Constitution means, how when the Constitution was enacted, all of the founders owned some of us because we were property, we were not people. That's what we need to spend more time learning, and we need to teach that.